Today we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to talk about new tech or faster data. Nope. We're going to explore the space between the data. Yeah, that little moment of lag, the spinning wheel, that delay we've all been trained to absolutely hate. But what if there's some kind of hidden value, a sort of poetry in that frustrating little pause? Let's dive in. So, I want to start with a question that kind of flips our whole modern perspective on its head. You see a loading spinner and you immediately feel that frustration, right? But what if that feeling isn't about the technology failing us? What if it's really about our own relentless cultural demand for everything to be instant? What if the bug isn't in the code at all, but in our own expectations? For decades, the story of tech progress has been super simple. Faster is better, full stop. We are obsessed with immediacy, trying to engineer every last millisecond of delay out of our lives. But you have to wonder, in this crazy race for absolute speed, have we accidentally engineered out the very space we need for reflection, for creativity, for meaning itself? This is the trade-off we've made, whether we realized it or not. We've built a world that is totally optimized for that left column: instant reactions, immediate feedback, and a huge focus on quantity. But by doing that, we've sacrificed what's on the right: the quiet, slower work of contemplation, of real intention, and a focus on quality. We've optimized our world for reaction, and in the process, we might have lost our ability for true reflection. So, how do we even start to reevaluate this void, this delay? Let's try looking at it through a different lens. For a minute, instead of thinking like an engineer, let's think like a musician. Let's explore the music of digital silence. And that brings us to our core idea for today, the poetics of latency. It's this theory that lag isn't just a bug, it could actually be a feature. It's not empty space, it's a pause, it's a breath. And just like in music, that pause where the meaning is actually forged. It's the space where we get to process, to feel, and to really connect with information. Seriously, think about your favorite song. The rhythm, the emotion, the tension and release, it's all sculpted by the rests, by the silence that happens between the notes. Without that silence, it's all just noise, right? So the real question becomes, if silence is what gives music its structure and its meaning, what could digital silence do for the information we're swimming in every single day? Okay, but this isn't just some artsy metaphor. The value of a slower, more deliberate pace, well, it's a principle that's literally woven into the fabric of the natural world. We can see it in biology, and believe it or not, even in fundamental physics. I just love this idea. A forest's intelligence doesn't operate at the speed of light. It works through these vast underground mycorrhizal networks. It's basically fungi connecting the roots of trees. It's a communication system that is ancient, it's resilient, and it's incredibly effective. And it is anything but instantaneous. So let's just draw a direct comparison here. We see our network latency, that buffer, that lag, as a total failure, a barrier to getting things done. But in the forest's network, that delay is the process of communication. It's the time needed to negotiate, to share nutrients, to send warnings to other trees. It's not an error, it's a built-in feature. The delay is the exchange. And it goes even deeper than biology, right down to basic physics. Information travels in waves. And you literally cannot have a crest, the peak of the signal, without a trough. That downtime isn't an absence of energy, it's an essential opposing force that allows the signal to even exist and move forward. Without the pause, there is no signal. Okay, so if nature and physics both rely on these pauses, what happens when we intentionally reintroduce them into our own digital lives? How can we actually use this whole poetics of latency idea to our advantage? This is exactly where the concept of slow tech comes in, and it's a pretty radical design philosophy. Instead of always asking, how can we make this faster, it asks, where could a strategic pause add the most value? Now, this isn't about building frustratingly slow software. It's about designing moments for reflection right into the workflow. Think of an email client with a built-in undo send delay. That's slow tech. So this intentional pause, it unlocks 3 different levels of thought. First up, verification. This is that crucial moment to catch a typo or maybe a flash of anger before you hit send. It's the simple genius behind Gmail's undo send. It's a buffer for our own humanity. Second, contemplation. This is the time to move beyond just the surface data and ask, what does this actually mean? And finally, association. This is the mental space where our brains make those weird, unexpected connections, which, let's be honest, is the very foundation of creativity. So what we're really talking about here is something bigger than just a different way to design apps. It's a whole new way of relating to technology itself. It's about cultivating the art of suspended time in a world that just wants to rush you through absolutely everything. And ultimately, this isn't about us demanding slower technology. It is about us cultivating a more disciplined mind. The real challenge, really, is learning to find and use the pauses that already exist, and then building the mental strength to create our own moments of reflection, even when the world is screaming for an instant reaction.
All right, let's just do a quick recap of what we've unpacked today. First, latency can be a feature, a space for meaning, not just an error. Second, that digital void is actually a fertile ground for creativity. Third, the whole slow tech movement is about choosing reflection over mindless reaction. And finally, when we slow down, we create the space for more thoughtful, more authentic human collaboration. It's a total reframing of what efficiency even means.
So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. The next time you see a loading bar or you're waiting for a file to download, try not to see it as wasted time. See it as an opening, an invitation, a little pocket of silence in a very noisy world. In that vast silence between the data, what new idea will you connect? What deeper question might you ask? What will you choose to create?